And all I'm asking for is the equal opportunity to lose my mind over a man's body. That's it. If you're going to put my titties out, I want to see some balls. That's it. And that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. We want more dick. We want more dick.
Put that shit on a t-shirt.
Lights. Camera. And action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared.
Damn!
And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Got my pumpkin spice latte. I'm so ashamed I like them.
Don't be ashamed. Just accept that you're basic. It's fine.
Yeah. Me and every other moron.
Spice. I hate it with such a
Do you like pumpkin
passion.
pie?
I don't mind pumpkin pie. Like, I'm not one of those people like at Thanksgiving who's like, ooh, pumpkin pie. But I'm like, oh, there's pumpkin. That'll be nice. But pumpkin spice lattes, hate them. Pumpkin candles, hate them. I don't understand them. Just it makes me pumpkin seeds though. I'm down.
Pumpkin seeds? Yes, I'm not a big fan of pumpkin seeds.
See, pumpkin seeds I love. Pumpkin everything else.
All right. So we are, and I just want to make sure my levels are, everything's recording. All right. So April 30th, 1999.
Jiminy Crickets.
Man, that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're watching TV around this time, most shows are reruns with the odd show is closing out its season. And in April in 1999 was full of classics like Frasier, Friends, Everybody Loves Raymond, Will and Grace, Home Improvement, Dharma and Greg, Drew Carey, Spin Cities, Just Shoot Me, News Radio. Like sitcoms were amazing. Even like the 1 hour 90s classics like Dawson's Creek, Star Trek Voyager, Charm, 90210 was still on. And yeah, if you were a TV person, it was a good time.
I literally watched every single one of the shows you just listed.
That wasn't even all of them. Like, there's a ton more that I left off of this. It was a wonderful time to be into TV. Like I remember you could easily watch 8 hours of TV a day, come home from work and just watch TV, grab something to eat, watch TV, have a shower, watch some TV, go to bed, watch TV in bed. It was awesome. Music, not so much. No, the number one song was No Scrubs by TLC. Other top songs were Livin' La Vida Loca, Believe by Cher, Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. So you kind of get where I didn't even find a huge rock song that was on the billboards. So it was a big time for pop. And of course, I remember starting to hear a lot of Prince, Party Like It's 1999, a lot that year. In the world around this time, MySpace.com was officially introduced to the internet, although the MySpace beta had been running since 1988, but MySpace was opened up to the masses.
I had a MySpace page.
Did you have MySpace? Man. You still have MySpace?
I might still. I never deleted my profile or anything. I never did anything on it other than Justin Timberlake is doing something with MySpace now. Because apparently the irrelevant hangs out with the irrelevant. Like they just gravitate towards each other.
Yeah. You don't like Justin Timberlake?
He's an overplayed douchebag.
Really? I thought he was a nice guy.
No, he has very deep running misogyny. and he's such an opportunist, he will literally drag his own mother down into the dirt in order to take 2 steps ahead.
Oh.
And they're not even good steps, but they're anyways. I could do an entire thesis on why Justin Timberlake is just shit.
Okay.
But I won't. We don't have time for that. Go ahead. Continue.
No, I learned some today. Actually, I learned a few things today. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, played his final game in April in the NHL, 99 in 1999. I actually went and saw his around this time this year, but it was his last game in, was it Maple Leaf Gardens or... I saw his last game in Maple Leaf Gardens, and I saw his last game in Toronto as a Ranger. I saw both those.
Jeez.
Not great seats, but I did get to see them.
It's okay.
The nail bombing in London started, on a more pleasant note. If you remember, they were sent at all the nail bombings. They were part of a hate campaign against ethnic minorities and gay people. David Copeland ended up getting caught for that. And if you were playing video games, you were playing Mario Party 1, Super Smash Brothers 1 on the N64, as well as my personal favorite GoldenEye 007, and Silent Hill, Need for Speed, Tomb Raider 2 on the PlayStation. Oh, no number on that PlayStation. It was the first PlayStation. Like,
it was just the PlayStation.
Just PlayStation.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
So long ago. Now people are like, yeah, I want the PS5. And I'm like, remember when it was just a PlayStation?
Yeah.
Those are the days.
When we were talking about the arachnophobia and being 1990, that was a long, and that's 9 years earlier than this. But doing this little bit of made me feel older than, I don't know if it's because I was playing these games and I don't know why, but this one made me feel even older than 1990. Also, April 30th, 1999, Idle Hands went into theaters and becomes a blockbuster. No, it didn't become a blockbuster. It was a certified bomb, like the definition of a movie bomb. It made just over $4 million through its entire run on, I will get to the budget in a bit. The movie had a sad misfortune of being released around the same time as the Columbine High School massacre. Many theaters decided not to show the movie because of depiction of violence with teens, even making on the radar with politicians, with Senator, what was his name, Joe Lieberman, who berated Idle Hands in Congress as another grossly violent film targeted at teens that uses killing as a form of comic relief. So, yeah, it bombed. And on that happy note... What do you remember about Idle Hands that you liked?
I remember it being... Okay, first of all, I want to go on the record as saying I appreciated it for what it was, because it was like frat boy humor. Like, yeah. It was very crude. It was very crass. Like, I remember a lot of laughing and groaning at the same time, or laughing and, saying, ew, God. Like, I remember that kind of feeling watching it. Could I tell you half of what happens in the film? No. Not even a little bit. No. Like, I remember big little snippets, and some of them I'm like, was that even in this movie? Who knows? But I remember it being very much like a dude, yo, bro movie. Like, something that guys would be like, dude, yo, bro, did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I did not see it in the theaters. Did you see it in the theaters?
No.
Or did you? No.
I did not see it in the theaters.
I remember renting this movie, and I'm not 100% sure because it was a long time ago, but I rented it because something that I want to rent wasn't in. So this was like my second or third pick if the movie I wanted was in. But I don't remember rushing to Blockbuster or anything like, I have to get this movie. It's out now. But I did remember liking it. I remember I enjoyed it. I remember the two friends who became the zombies, Seth Green and the guy who was... He was just on Daredevil as Foggy. Eldon Henson. I don't remember. I remember that I bring up the poster here in a second. I know the guy who starred in it, but he's
Devin
not
Sawa.
ringing a bell. Yeah.
I always remember him. He was also in, I want to say, Final Destination, the first one.
Oh, that's where I remember him from.
But then he's been in a bunch of like other teen movies, teen TV shows, and then he like became an adult, and then he was in, oh God, was it Alias, Dollhouse? One of those. It was something like female spy like. They go undercover or something. He was like an operative. It might have been Alias. Maybe. Ooh,
Oh,
I
so
don't
I
know.
didn't watch Alias.
I watched a lot of TV. TV was my best friend. Yeah, so he kept popping up. He had a bit of a troubled time.
Kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. During his like early 20s, I think, early to mid 20s, he had a little bit of, I think it was more drugs, and he wasn't working as steadily. But then he kind of came back and he became this weird pop culture kind of icon on Twitter as well.
Oh,
Like
okay.
he plays the game when people start talking about like Final Destination or Idle Hands, whatever. He like jumps in with little comments, and he doesn't mind poking fun at himself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's kind of kept himself relevant, which is awesome. I'm here for it. But yeah, no, I forgot Seth Green was in this.
Yeah,
But then
and
when
I
you
like
said his
Seth
name,
Green.
I was
Seth
like,
Green.
Seth Green.
Yeah, he's awesome. I
Love
do
him.
like Seth Green. And I don't remember the movie poster at all. I do remember this, the DVD cover. I forgot Jessica Alba was in this movie.
That's right, with her short hair.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Oh, wait, maybe it was on her TV show that he was on.
oh, maybe.
This is going to kill me. I'm going to have to look it up because this is going to drive me bananas.
Yeah. So Seth Green, Hansen, and the main character now, and then I just found out today that Jessica Alba was in it. So now I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the movie. I was before, but this never made, like we talked about, a rotation. It never, I never bought it. I never saw it. I'm sure I saw it I always went to Blockbuster and went to that section where they had the DVDs for $6.99, $9.99. I'm pretty sure I saw it there, but I never picked it up. So I'm skeptical. But I do remember thinking it was okay. It was good. It was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I believe I agree with you. Again, it's 90s. It's 90s humor, frat boy humor. It's not R-rated, so I don't think it's like an American Pie.
No, I don't remember it being overly sexual.
No.
Like, I think there were sex jokes in there, but it wasn't like a TNA kind of movie. Like, I remember it being more gross humor.
Yeah, especially
now I'm
with
dying to know if I'm remembering this right.
Yeah,
but I remember a lot of gross humor. See, I didn't even rent this. Like, this wasn't I didn't initiate the rental of this.
Oh,
I saw this when I was living in Res in London, and I was living on a co-ed residence floor, and our next door neighbors were 4 dudes, and some of them were friends with one of my roommates' boyfriends. So we used to hang out on the weekends.
Oh, so
and
it was
I
like
think
a movie
someone
night.
brought it over. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, I just got this movie. Do we want to watch it?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So we're like eating pizza and chips and watching Idle Hands, and it was like,
I'm pretty
funny.
sure I watched this with more than one friend. Sometimes that's the wrong way to watch a movie. Sometimes it's a fun way to watch a movie, but sometimes and you forget and miss it's the missing part because you're with the friends.
You're distracted a little bit.
Yeah. I might have saw it twice. I don't know, but it would have been around that time, and I don't think I've seen it since. Actually, I haven't seen it since like 2000, 2001.
I've seen it once, and it was that time in
around that time.
1999. Yeah.
Oh, you've only seen it the one time.
Yeah, the fall winter of 1999. However, I have seen the occasional clip on TV when they would play it on like Much Music.
Yeah.
So it's like the occasional clip where I'm like, "Oh, young Jessica Alba," and then I would see Devon Sawa, and then I'd click on the info, and I'd be like, "Oh, Idle Hands," and then I'd change the channel.
Well, it's funny that you said when you saw it on the Music TV or Much Music, Idle Hands. Like a lot of 90s movies, the soundtracks were huge, and this one has like a huge soundtrack.
The number of soundtrack CDs I have from 90s movies is a little concerning, but they were so good.
Yeah, like it was awesome because we didn't have iTunes or Google Play or Spotify, and buying these ones, you knew you were getting almost like a whole CD worth of good music, where sometimes you bought a band and then you got one or two good songs.
I always had a rule. I'd wait for them to release 3 songs before I bought their CD.
That was a good rule. I did, and I would sometimes, talking to you, Eve 6. one good song on that album. Okay, so let's go to the tail of the tape. Well, we just saw the DVD. I remember it. As soon as I saw it, I remembered it. It was a cool, that was a DVD one. The poster was a little different. The tagline was the comedy that gives horror films the backhand. And it's based on the hand being possessed. And I guess that's all right. So the outline per Rotten Tomatoes is when slacker teen Anton Tobias, Devon Sawa, has the right hand possessed by a demonic force, he finds that his life gets a lot more interesting. While Anton himself is an amiable guy, his hand proves to be an appendage of death, killing his two best buddies, Nub and Mick, Henson and Green, who return to life as wisecracking zombies. In addition to murdering those close to him, Anton's evil hand significantly hinders his chances with lovely neighbor Molly Jessica Alba. So there's obviously not a giant plot story to this movie.
No, I feel like it's going to be like just a continuous line of gags. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of gags, which I'm fine with. I mean, they have their place.
Yeah. Critic consensus was basically an uneasy mix of slapstick and gore. Idle Hand lacks the manic energy and comedic inspiration required to pull off its goofy premise. Critics. Now, this is where it's interesting because 55 critics, their average was 15%. So that's not...
That does not bode well for us.
No, because critics never give horror movies that great of a thing. But
no,
when it gets below 20, sometimes they're right. But the audience had given it 58 from over 50,000 scores. So that's a big gap between the critics and the audience.
Yeah, but I also think critics were looking for, things like a plot and character development. And they're like, let's give me the 3 acts.
Yeah.
Which and this was like, but here's a fart joke.
Well, it bodes well for us because now we're not looking for a plot. IMDb has it at 6.2 from over 44,000 ratings. So we'll watch the trailer and...
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. Well, it might be really bad.
Oh.
So I came all the way over here. You said you was holding.
I didn't say what I was holding.
Anton Tobias never had much on his mind.
Don't you think you should have like a goal?
My dream life would be to lie around all day in bed and watch TV while some hot broad delivers me food.
And he always had time on his hands.
4 bodies have been discovered and the killer is still at large.
Until one of them
What's happening to me?
got a mind of its own.
I have no control over my hand. It makes me do things I don't want him to do.
Aren't you a little old for Ding Dong Ditch?
Sorry about your bush.
I'm gonna call 911. What's the number?
I'm not the killer.
Okay. I mean, if OJ could get off, then I'm sure. You there?
Now, his hand won't stop.
I don't want to hurt you. Don't! Ew, that's disgusting.
His friends won't die.
You're dead. Undead, actually. And there was this big, bright white light at the end of a long tunnel.
So what happened?
We were like, forget that, man. Too far.
And the only way to stop it
Idle hands are the devil's playpen, so keep my hands occupied, right?
is to keep it busy.
Freeze! Drop the knitting needles.
That's probably not a good idea.
Put him down! Cuff me!
Put those needles down, young man!
Cuff me, cuff me,
Columbia Pictures presents
The police have no leads and the killer is still out there.
You scream like a girl.
the comedy
Careful, it's on kind of loose. That's really starting to get on my nerves.
that dares to give scary movies
Look at me! Help me in the face!
the backhand.
What you doing, man? That's my dad. Come on.
CPR, man. I saw him Baywatch. Did you lose something there, bud?
Idle Hands. The touching story of a boy and his hand.
Kinky.
Fly for a white guy.
can't wait to see what adult Anna thinks about this movie.
I remembered a little bit more, but still not a lot.
No.
But I like the preview. I'll be honest. It looks stupid.
Well, yeah, of course.
But I'm hoping that now that I know what I have an idea that like the story is pretty light. It's gonna be stupid humor. Maybe I'll like it. Still,
Amen.
I love seeing that cat fly across the yard. That was funny.
That's all it takes for you, a flying cat.
Yeah, I'm easily amused.
Genius. When I saw dead Seth Green, I was like, wait a second, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the bottle in the head. That was it. That's pretty much it. I was like, none of this is ringing a bell.
Yeah, so it only made $4 million from a $25 million budget. Like, so it lost a lot of money. It might have made a bunch of money. Like what was that movie? Arachnophobia. It made like 30 million on rentals. So maybe it did. I
probably
never found
recouped
out.
a lot. They probably recouped a lot in rentals.
Yeah. So what do you think? Are you going to like it or what's your prediction?
I think I'm going to laugh groan through most of it. You know what I mean? Like where you're just like, I'm laughing because it's funny, but God, this is kind of cheesy. I think I'll like it. I remember thinking it was funny.
Yeah, I think I'm going to like it too. I just wonder if it's going to be one of those where you're breaking it down and I'm like, come on, it was funny. It wasn't that bad.
I don't know. We'll see how much I actually laugh, because it's like the one time I watched it. Yeah, I thought it was funny, but I was also watching it with a group of people.
Yeah. And actually when it comes to comedy, that kind of helps.
Yeah. Like when you're with other people, you feed off their energy and
it's contagious when someone starts laughing. Yeah.
So I'm like, I remember thinking it was funny. I think I'll still think it's funny. I just don't know how funny I'll think it is. I want it to be funny though.
I want to like all these movies. Yeah. I predict I'm gonna like it. I want to like it. I think I want to like it. I just hope it's not one of those things where we get back on here and I'm like, I really wanted to like this movie. but yeah.
I want to see how offensive it is. That's what
1999, we were just a few months away from American Pie. So 1999 was a very big transition year for movies. And
so I want to see where this one kind of lands.
1999 led into that whole beginning of the 2000s with like Old School and other movies like Old School. I can't even think of one now.
Old School, Dodgeball.
Anything Ben Stiller, Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn. Yeah, all those.
God, what there was
a lot.
They kept making movies.
Yeah, tons of them, like Anchorman and Meet the Parents and Tropic Thunder and
Tropic Thunder is amazing.
And every year from American Pie 1999 on, they just got more funny, but more offensive.
There was a lot of envelope pushing.
Yeah, and I think 1999 started it. So yeah, here's hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll go watch it and we'll see.
Find out.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
Okay, so we're back from watching Idle Hands. Okay, first, your initial thoughts, like your brief overall enjoyment, whether you liked or disliked the movie.
Overall, I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it.
I had the same kind of sentiment. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it or anything, but yeah, it was kind of easy to see why I liked it back then. Well, let's just go through the synopsis. And it was not a perfect movie by
Oh no.
any stretch, but yeah. So let's go through the movie. So Mr. and Mrs. Tobias, the parents of the house, are settling into bed when they notice a message on the ceiling that says, "I am under the bed." That part was actually really cool.
That was super cool.
And the actors were Fred Willard and I forgot her name, but yes, they were really good.
Yeah.
So they read the message and they hear a noise from outside. Mr. Tobias goes to check out what the noise was, while Mrs. Tobias calls the police. Well, okay, no, sorry. And she waits there. It was really well done, because that whole where you could tell he doesn't want to go look for it and she's kind of pushing him to do it. That part was good. And then she hears the struggle downstairs. And she leaves the room. She goes downstairs, correct?
She doesn't go downstairs. She goes, I think, to the top of the stairs. And then this is where I figured out that her son, Anton, lives in the attic, because she keeps trying to open the door.
And she calls up to Anton.
She calls up to him. He doesn't answer.
Yeah.
And then she goes back into her room. I was like, okay. I just want to point, like, it went straight into like the opening credits. And I was like, did I miss an opening scene? So I went back because I was like, no, I don't think there was one. I went back, double checked, and I was like, no, there isn't. And I was like, oh, I wonder why they did that. And then I see the first scene as it plays out with the parents, and I was like, I get it now.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And then she goes to call the police, and then she gets dragged. That's where the killer is actually under the bed and drags her under. Opening scene. Yeah, the opening scene was cool. Their lazy stoner son, Anton, hasn't noticed their disappearance in a few days. One morning, Anton runs out of weed. He actually says there's no milk, there's no dog food. So he goes to his friend. Is it Nub?
I feel like that's what it is.
House, and tries to get more weed but his buddies say that they're out of weed too. And Nub suggests that Anton should go talk to the neighbor, Molly, because she drives by, and then that whole conversation about she's had the crush on her and da-da-da-da. Yeah. The girl that he likes, he sees Molly dropped her lyrics book and then goes to return it, and it ends up being pretty awkward. That part was actually pretty funny. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's fantastic. There was a lot in that first little part that I was like, good establishing characters. Some of it I was like, is this gonna pay off later? P.S. It does.
Yeah.
But it was
and
a good
Mick and Nub, they were introduced pretty funny. And as he was crossing the street, Randy, the rocker dude, was introduced. So yeah, it was pretty good, a pretty good setup. Yeah. And then he tries talking to Molly, and that he just doesn't, he's not able to say anything and just walks away. Anton goes home and makes himself a sandwich. And let's see. And he notices the knife he's using is covered in blood, and his cat Bones playing with an eyeball. Yeah, that part was gross.
Yeah, no, totally. I never like it when an eyeball is separated from the body. It's one of my personal pet peeves. I especially don't like it when it's completely removed and they can play with it or it's somewhere, because that's one of my greatest fears because I mean, I'm Portuguese. My family eats the eyeballs out of many animals. So it's
gross.
Right? So that just adds an extra level of ew for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get a better thing to read the plot from. Isn't this when, before he makes a sandwich, he goes to get groceries, does he not? And then he comes back and the cops give him a time. So he set up the cops.
Cops give him a hard time. He makes fun of them for being nerds in high school. They are very upset that he never invited them to smoke up behind the school. Yeah. It was like a whole thing. He was like, you shouldn't have been such big dorks, and so on and so forth. It was really a beautiful bonding.
And earlier, before that, with his friends, they were talking about the serial killer running around town. That's why there's a curfew. And then the cops again remind everybody about the curfew.
Actually, the scene in the basement with his friends was really great, because I'm like, this is fantastic setup for the movie. and the plot, and at the same time establishing just how much of a stoner loser Anton is.
Yeah, where
Because
the
he's
other
all
stoner
like,
losers are making
yeah,
fun of him.
they're making fun of him. Don't you watch the news? Oh, I don't watch that show.
Yeah.
Like, there's only one. And then they're like, yeah, there's a murder. That's why there's a curfew. There's a dance. And he's like, what? Huh? Who died? What happened?
Yeah. He had no clue on any of it. None.
Nothing.
No.
He's just
So
walking around wearing headphones.
He's watching it. The one thing that really dated this movie was that he was watching MTV. He was watching music videos.
There were actual music videos on the television.
Yeah. So he puts blood on a sandwich, the cat playing with the eyeball, and he runs around the house in a panic and hits the two pumpkin scarecrow type things, trips over them, and it's his parents, their corpses. That's when Mick and Nub show up, and Anton shows them the bodies. And it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And they go through how did they get killed, who might have done it, and then you could tell Mick was pretty much putting it together when the dead corpse was holding a fabric, and it showed Anton, who has the same color fabric ripped out of his shirt. And like, it was, I don't even know how you would pull it off like that, because it was like a circular cut. But anyways,
literally like someone took a pair of scissors to it. You're like,
you could really tell who they were gearing this movie towards.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want to make it overly complicated.
They didn't want to make it super realistic either. Like, this was not a, guys, this could be real kind of movie. This was this is ridiculous. Okay, FYI.
Yeah, this movie wasn't playing it straight. This movie was and then when Mick finds out, the whole thing is funny. It is funny when they're trying to piece it all together and try to figure it out. But they figure out that the killer is Anton. Tries to call 911, but Anton pulls out the phone cord and claims that he isn't the killer, but he murders Mick with a glass bottle. Anton promises Nub that he didn't mean to do it, but they find out Anton's hand is possessed. His hand chases Nub into the basement with Anton attached to it and tries to stop his hand so Nub can escape. But his hand overpowers him and throws the bandsaw thing and decapitates him. One of the things I do want to say is that for 1999, the effects were pretty, even by today's standards, were pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, they're not as good as today, but they're probably better than low budget horror movies. So that the crew that did these effects, not all of them, some of them were kind of dated to 1999, but like a lot of it they did a really good job.
You weren't distracted by it.
No, it wasn't one of those things where it's like,
where you're like, like you after the initial like 30 seconds, you're like, oh yeah, no. And there were some things where I was like, oh God, that's exceptionally gross.
Yeah.
Like, later on,
like that eyeball looked real when the cat was playing.
The eyeball looked real. Later on, when Nubs tries to eat a burrito,
that was well done. Gross, like, but
so gross. But I was like, oh, nicely done, my friends.
But even
the
bottle in the head, I'm not sure that's exactly how that would play out, but for the age that this was geared towards, and when I watched it, that's pretty much how I would figure that's how that would go in a comedy kind of horror way. And the blade going through his neck and all that, and the head rolling and letting out that last word. Yeah, it was the effects were pretty good.
Especially because, I mean, we've said it a few times and we'll probably say it a few more, but this is definitely a comedy first and foremost.
Yes.
And like a horror secondary. So I was like, I mean, they're playing to the comedy of it. So I'm like, this is perfect. It fits, you know?
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Then he goes up and sits in the couch to try to figure out what's going on with his hand. This part was funny where Anton, he's arguing with his hand and the hand gets mad and throws the cat out the window. Then he goes looking for it, and the hand pulls him up to Molly's porch and rings the doorbell. Molly takes Anton into her room. Okay, first off, I question this woman's or this young lady's basic common sense. Like he's acting weird. He's like in today's day and age, I don't want to use the wrong word, but he's covered in blood. And it's not like it's like, oh, it might be paint or anything. Like she actually makes the comment that he's got blood on him. Hasn't really talked to this guy. I'm not even 100% she really knows him, maybe in passing, and she's dragging him up to her room.
Yeah. No, there's so much wrong with Molly. So much wrong.
Yeah, not just here. Like we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
Like all through the movie, like I question a lot about her.
There is a lot very, very wrong about her. Nobody's had conversations about personal safety. Nobody's had conversations about self-respect and dignity. Nobody's had conversations about caring about who has access to your body. No, none of this has happened.
And as the hand was like grabbing her ass and trying to choke her, it didn't seem to bother her.
No, the only thing she did, like, I'm like, wait, so you're telling me this hand is trying to kill you by choking you? That's a very different kind of choking than like a fun choking.
Yeah.
And all she does is move the hand to her shoulder.
Yeah.
And then when it goes back, she doesn't even look up.
No.
She doesn't even move back a little. No, it's only when he takes his hand to tie it.
Yeah.
With a piece of cloth to the bed. And all she says is, ooh, kinky. And I'm like, what? And you're just going to keep making out with him?
Yeah.
Until you're, okay, sure.
Not that he's any better. I mean, he just found his parents dead and murdered his two friends. Like Jessica Alba is very pretty. I will give you that. But
she's not that pretty.
She's not that pretty. As pretty as she is.
She's not. Also, I just want to go on the record as saying this. I have never thought that Jessica Alba was a very good actress. I was going to. She's a good one.
I was going to ask this. Go ahead, finish, and I'll say my thing.
No, she's terrible. She is absolutely terrible. That's it.
Because I actually by the third act, I paused the movie and took my headphones off, and I asked my wife. I'm like, was Jessica Alba a horrible actress, or is it just the script? Is she not a very good actress? Because I remember seeing a lot of movies with her in it, and I remember liking those movies. But was she a really bad actress?
She's a bad actress.
Because she's not working with a lot here. No.
But sometimes her face is like a dead space. Like there is no emotion. Like not even, I'm a moron, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, even though you're covered in blood. Like sometimes there's just nothing there. And I'm like, did nobody see this on the monitor and like flag it? And over the course of her career, she's an average actress. She's never been.
I think she's gotten better.
She's gotten a lot better since Idle Hands. I will give her that 100%. But it's hard to go anywhere but up from Idle Hands because her performance in this, God. But she's never been an exceptionally talented or nuanced actress. It's been very one-dimensional. If you really watch the movies that she's done.
Yeah, when you think about the movie, yeah.
She basically plays the same character over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Occasionally she'll throw in an accent like in Honey, where all of a sudden she was like, I think from the Bronx is where she was supposed to be from.
I've never seen Honey.
Oh, dude. I went through a dance movie phase. I'd like to point this out.
There was a lot of them back then, yeah.
There were a lot of them back in the day, okay? And I will still watch every single Step Up movie, even though they have devolved into like the loosest plots just to get people to dance. I'm
Step by Step? What is it?
No, Step
Up. What am I thinking of? Bring It On.
Oh, Bring It On. I have also watched
the new one's a slasher movie.
What?
Yeah, a new one's just come out, and it's a horror comedy. Same premise, cheerleading and all that, but it's a slasher movie. Done. I have not seen it. I've only seen the first Bring It On,
which is a classic.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I remember liking that. Yeah.
Everything else after that devolves in quality, but still entertaining. Wow. Anyways,
I'll take your word for it. Okay, so Molly Porch Rings. the door.
Yeah.
But Molly takes Anton to her room to make out, but the parents come home, so Anton leaves. Yeah, see this plot thing. This
Also, can we point
leaves out
out
a
that
lot.
he's still wearing the same clothing from when he killed his parents
Yeah,
days before? The
yeah,
man stinks.
yeah,
Who's making out with him?
yeah.
Not
He's
me.
eating really bad food and smoking pot. His breath cannot be good.
No. He literally just smells and tastes like trash. That's where he's at.
But we did say that this movie is not playing it straight.
Mm.
It's definitely
Not
these are
believing the
kind of
logic.
things that pop out as you're. And I don't know if it's age, where when I was younger it didn't bother. I was stupid and didn't think about it or didn't care because it was Jessica Alba. I don't know. So yeah, Anton leaves. Anton buries his friends and his parents' corpses in the backyard, but Mick and Nub come back as zombies and knock him out. Meanwhile, a druidic high priest named Debbie LaCure, I forgot Vica A. Fox was in this,
Yeah.
is hunting the spirit responsible for killing for killings across the country. Yeah, that whole thing where she's following the hand. She gets to the place and she thought she found the guy, but that hand was all withered to shit, and so it left. And she hops on her bus. She already had the killings in the place where Anton lives, and she figures out that's where the hand is now. So again, the plot is really kind of really thin. Super thin.
But thankfully, you don't need a well-developed plot for a movie like that.
And I'm glad when we first talked about this, we came to the consensus, both of us, that we weren't watching a very smart, witty type of movie here. This was a stoner comedy from 1999. So he goes to, see that it's missing all this other stuff. So, okay, I'm going to try to remember the movie myself. So he talks to his stoner friends. They knock him out. He wakes up. He thought he was dreaming. He comes downstairs. He sees the back of them. He's like, "Oh, I had the weirdest dream. I thought I killed you." And then there they are as the zombies.
Yeah.
They try to figure out what's wrong with them. And then Mick says, maybe talk to Randy, the rocker guy, because
he listens to all that Satan rock music.
Yeah, and you do hear him listen to rock music, but it's like Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's just Motley Crue.
He's wearing a Quiet Riot t-shirt.
And actually, I love that t-shirt.
Yeah. No.
I love. My uncle used to listen to Quiet Riot back when I was a kid. I really like Quiet Riot.
Also, I'd like to point out that Randy is probably my favorite character in this entire movie.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Like, you're wonderfully creepy, but entertaining and still very innocent, but still a perv. This is beautiful.
And that whole scene where he goes to the Jungle Burger. And to find Randy, I don't know how he knew he was there, but anyways, he goes there. Randy is there trying to pick someone up that's leaving flowers because two twins that worked there were murdered by the serial killer. And then they have a big argument, and that whole thing where Anton sees, I guess, Randy go to the drive-thru. He goes into the restaurant. There's some funny parts in there, and gets him on the drive-thru speaker. And he basically says that the Devil's Playground. No, sorry, what was it?
Idle hands are the Devil's Playground, or Devil's Playpen, which they say at one point.
Yeah,
and it was like, I feel like that's not the.
No, that's not it. It's a playground. But yeah. So then we cut back to he's back with his zombie friends and he's knitting. Listen to loud music. And this is where the thing here picks back up. The cops respond to a noise disturbance, and they're like, this is the Bias residence. That's where Anton is. And they realize that he's the killer and decide not to call for backup. They want to bust it and get all the glory themselves. And they bust in and he kills him.
Yeah.
And actually the kills were actually again, the kills and the effects were actually pretty good. Like that sewing needle into the ear and out the other ear, and the guy
Yeah, man.
screaming. Yeah, that was a
That
good
was
kill.
good. That was
Yeah.
good. I like it because it went straight through the brain, like real
Yeah.
quick. And it happened before you could even really register it. And then you're like, oh, nice.
And then he
I
holds
love
him
it.
up and uses that as a shield and grabs the gun and he shoots the other cop, right?
I feel like that's right. But not with his. What does he shoot at? Oh, this is going to kill me.
I just watched this.
I know.
I remember the sewing needle thing going through the ears. That's very vivid.
That one's very vivid. And then, because there was no, the other cop, I think, tries to shoot him. And then, oh, wait, is this where, does Mick help?
Oh,
I can't remember. But the second death wasn't as, I think because it came right after yeah, that's right. It came right after the knitting needle in the brain.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just like, no. Like, you can't remember the second one because that one was so jarring. Because it comes after them, like, yelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because at one point, yeah, because they argued for a bit where the corpses were, his friends were like on the cop side, and the cop said something, and the one guy's like, oh, screw you guys, I changed my mind, kill them, and tells Anton to kill them. Oh, here we go. A wiki of listen. And this is just going to fucking bug the shit out of me. Here we go. Officer Ruck impaled through the ear by Anton's hand with a knitting needle. Officer McKay shot in the face by Anton's hand with a taser.
That's it.
His brain and face.
That's right, because the two taser things went in here in the face, and he goes backwards.
Again, which wasn't a bad kill either.
Not a bad kill. Not a bad
Actually,
kill.
some of the more recent movies, I won't name which one, these kills were better.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that 100%.
But yeah, definitely they were pretty good. So after his hand kills the two cops in his living room, Anton decides to cut off his hand, which again, it was very humorous. He's going to do that bagel slicer, and the nub guy, he's like,
guillotine.
Yeah. He's like, dude, that thing won't even cut my bagel. And it doesn't. Then he tries chopping it himself, and his hand keeps moving. It was funny. But then he does get it. Cuts it off with a cleaver. And then I think it was Mick came and put the iron on it, which got hot really quick.
I was going to say, I was like, has that iron been on this entire time? That's a fire hazard.
And the funny bit where he tells him to get the carving knife, and he starts running and then unplugs it. And yeah, I think I enjoy more talking about the movie than I did
the movie
actually.
Itself?
Yeah.
Because the movie was funny, but it was like, okay, yeah. Like it was okay.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then they wrap it up and they go to get a first aid kit. Then the hand, he notices the hand's, I want to say running around or whatever it is. So he gets the hand and forces it in the microwave, and it bubbles and burns and whatever. Meanwhile, Debbie, now along with Randy, Anton's neighbor. Oh, hold on. This one's leaving out a lot of the story. Molly shows up at the house in her angel costume, and he's still wearing the same clothes.
Correct.
He hasn't done it.
Correct.
Oh,
he has not showered. He has not put. I don't even think he's put on pants.
And he's having a conversation after he just lopped off his
arm. He's cut off his hand, and they put a plastic bag over his nub. And he's just like, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm, I don't even know what he said. He was in his costume covered in blood. That's just cut off their hand. And I was like, why are you exposing that to air? I feel like that is not sanitary.
Yeah, no.
You literally just cut off your hand. And I'm like, why are you, what? And the best part is, this freshly cauterized and like sawed off wrist thing is being shown to Molly, and she's like, "Oh my god, cool!"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Girl,"
And
she's more concerned.
not for naught, the amount of pain that, again, it's clear that this kid's gone from comedy to slapstick, slapstick, almost spoof territory. Again, which is fine. So why did he leave? He tells her to go. He'll meet them.
No, they were going to go to the dance, and then he said, "Oh, you know what? Actually, you go ahead."
I'll meet you there.
He was leaving with her to go to the dance, and then he was like, "You know what? Actually, I gotta go do this thing. I will meet you there. Like, go without me. I'll be right there." And she was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, no, don't ask why he's still wearing the same clothes from days ago, and they're still covered in blood, and now he has
why
no hand.
He kind of smells by now,
right?"
Yeah. So, and was it after this that where did he go? Like he actually left for something, because the two zombies come back.
The two zombies come back and they decide to have burritos.
Yeah, and they brought back the thing, but he's not there.
He's not there, so they eat the burritos, and then he comes back to the house.
Yeah, and then you let the hand out of the microwave.
Don't open the microwave. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. We only have like 2 burritos. This is the second one." And he's like, "Where's the hand?" "Oh, it got away." Then everybody has to go to the school to find the hands.
And that whole part where he was eating the burrito and it came out of his neck, and
that was super gross, but awesome.
Yeah, it was gross, but it was
like I actually almost threw up in my mouth. I was like, "Oh God." Because it was extra icky, and the color of it, but it was great. I was like, "This is good." Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to just read what I have now, and let's see if this is how Debbie, now along with Randy, Anton's neighbor, hunts Anton down to put a stop to the possessed hand. After sending Molly to the school dance, Anton returns home to finish off the hand. Unfortunately, Nub and Mick inadvertently release the hand. The three of them go out to steal Randy's truck and head to the school.
Yes.
That was, as stupid as it was funny that they, backed up and sent her flying across the street.
Yes.
That whole creepy part of Randy giving her mouth
to mouth, even though she's breathing, it's fine.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even have to, you weren't doing anything creepy until you made it look creepy. Like giving mouth to mouth to someone that's knocked unconscious is almost the right thing to do, but the way he did it was very
well. You're only supposed to give mouth to mouth if they're not breathing.
She was breathing.
She's fine.
Yeah, so
but he's all like, "Hey, she's unconscious." He gets that creepy smile on his face, and then he leans down to give her mouth to mouth, which is just basically, "I'm going to stick my tongue in your mouth because you can't fight me off."
Yeah,
that's not.
She makes fun of his breath.
Why does it taste like vomit? I'm like, thank you, ma'am.
Oh God, this movie was dumb. Now the more I talk about it, as stupid it becomes. Okay, so they steal the truck. Mick and Nub go to the Halloween dance to watch over Molly. I made a comment about what movie were we watching? Halloween H2O, about there was no nudity, and that's kind of sacrilege. Not for the nudity, it's just the genre itself. Slasher movies. This movie didn't need the nudity.
No, not even a little bit.
Had it, and it wasn't even that great. I'm not talking about the girl's nudity. That was fine. But the reason to have it there with the hand wasn't that funny or...
No.
And now as a prude father with just girls, I don't know if I don't want them to think that's all right to be out in the car while there's a school dance going on doing that stuff. I know they'll do it, but I want to be one of those dad that's completely fucking oblivious to it.
No, and as you should be. You don't get me wrong, I think it's really great when you can talk to your kids about anything, but at the same time your kids should have enough personal I guess privacy that they don't want you to know everything, and it's still super weird for your parents to know sexual information about you.
Yes, absolutely.
FYI, according to my father, I am still a virgin.
Well, see, I have one that is a lot like Jessica Alba's character here,
Oh
which scares
no.
me. I have one that's like the sister from that 70s show. And
Oh,
I am going to be like Red Foreman, and
yes.
they're all going to be my like angels and that do no wrong, and tunnel vision, and I don't see all the bad shit and sexual stuff they do off to the side. I'm just
I
going to see,
love that.
I love you, Daddy.
Yeah,
My
that's all you need to
angels.
see, my friend. That's all you need to see.
That's all I
Um,
want to see.
yeah, no, I made a note where I was like, took us over an hour, but we got titties.
Yes.
So the titties finally showed up, but it was weird because I was like, this doesn't even make sense for the titties. Like, I feel like I blinked and then all of a sudden there were titties. And I was like, where did you come from? Like, this was not the natural workup that it usually is. Because usually in a horror movie, when we get to see the titties, it's a slow reveal because
Yeah.
they're like, we're going to revel in the sin.
Yeah.
And then, there was the principal who's trying to make a 1-900 call and he's talking about spanking somebody. And then the creepy hand comes up through the pants. And I was like, that makes sense. I actually really enjoyed that one. So that was funny. But the titties one, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Don't
all
get
of
me
a sudden,
wrong. I at the moment I was excited because
they're lovely.
I was watching it in bed and I had my headphones on and my wife was reading a book, and then so I don't like blow the speaker out of my thing. It was like I slapped her in the arm, and I'm like, and I'm pointing at the screen. I'm like, titties, there's titties on there, because I can't really hear anything with these on. And she's like, "You're an idiot."
No, but it's almost a standard of anything that's even horror adjacent. You expect nudity.
Yes.
And there has to be, as Randy put it in Scream, the sin factor.
Yeah.
So it has to feel almost forbidden and like they're doing something that should be kept a secret.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was just all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and tits.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
It's as almost if the writer or director, maybe the writer didn't even put it in, but the director agreed with you and was like, we need to have titties and they're sinning and they must die because titties were shown.
I'm telling you right now, I can guarantee you in the first take of the shot, she was wearing a shirt. It was unbuttoned. The guy's hands maybe were under the shirt or on top of the shirt.
Yeah.
And then the director or a producer, somebody off on the side goes, just take the shirt off.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, and correct me if I don't remember the actual act of the shirt being taken off.
No, I think it cut to him and then cut to her and they were there.
And then all of a sudden there's no shirt. And I'm like, ooh, Houdini, hello. That was super quick. Where did the shirt disappear to? And I think that's exactly what happened. First take, there was a shirt on. And the director or producer or somebody just said, just take it off.
Yeah.
And then that was the take that they went with.
And then she said for X amount of dollars. And they said, okay. And she said,
actually,
no problem.
Chances are the
back
possibility
then
of nudity would have already been in there.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as negotiated as it is now. It was just oftentimes expected.
Yeah.
They're like, and we may need you to take off your shirt. And also at that time, I'm trying to think, because the actress is Kelly Monaco. She's been on General Hospital for many, many, many years. I think she would have actually started on General Hospital just around that time. So she probably would have filmed this like just before she started on General Hospital. So if she's a young actress who needs to make rent, she's not.
But her
fussing.
contract would have said may or may not need to show
may include some like
boob.
nudity, whatever. Some
because whoever was the hand extra or whatever the hand actor. Yeah, like I hope she got paid all right because that hand was a little aggressive. Like he's playing with fucking Play-Doh or something.
She probably
the other guy was being nice and sexual, but that other hand was.
Yeah, no, that was like serious pawing, for real.
Which I'm guessing that's the way it was supposed to look.
Well, yeah, it was violent. So I was like, how did nobody figure this out? But anyways, I will say this for her. it probably wasn't negotiated. It probably was just expected. And
Yeah.
it was, I mean, unfortunately, especially the way actresses were and are treated in Hollywood. There's almost an expectation of you're super replaceable. She would have gotten paid the basic standard rate for a union actress. So she did a few days of work. She would have gotten paid $700 or $800, depending on how many days she was on set. Probably about $800 to $1,000, and then she's sent on her way with royalties.
Really?
We'll give her that.
Well, at least with royalties.
Yeah, she makes
That's still kinda
probably
shitty.
about 3 cents every time the movie airs. And
Well, you're
really, how many
welcome.
times do you see idle
Well,
hands?
she made 6 cents.
She made 6 cents this week from us. Oh my god. Oh god.
And you're welcome. Best 3 cents I've ever spent.
Actually, I don't know if SAG has renegotiated how the royalties work with online distribution.
Oh, then
That
I
was actually something
apologize.
they needed to talk about. Yeah. She may have only made 3 cents this week because it was just one day this week that someone watched a movie. That's it.
That would be hilarious if she was at home next month and she got a check for like 6 cents. And she's like, what the fuck is this? And it says Idle Hands. Oh my God, two
Somebody
people
actually
watched
watched
Idle
it?
Hands. They saw my boobs.
Yeah. Oh, titties.
I even wondered as a kid if it was because as a kid, one of the greatest thing about watching horror movies as a child, not a child, but as a preteen, a teen into your 30s and 40s, was seeing nudity. And I always wondered, even at his young age, if women were being gypped, but would women want to see like male genitalia flopping around? Like, would they be as excited as boys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they should
we're
put more of
always up
that
for
in
full
then.
frontal.
Oh, then they should put that in horror movies too.
Yeah, they totally should.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, apparently every woman is just asexual and we're only showing up for like the pleasure of men. Nobody ever thinks that we want to see some I want to see some dick action. Like, I want to know what's making all these girls want to take off their shirts and their shorts super quick after knowing these guys for 10 minutes. I'm like,
yeah,
he's got to be packing. Let me see it.
Yeah.
We don't
and
get
if
to
he's
see
not,
anything.
then she should put her shirt back on.
No, because then the minute, yes, because the minute they do that, all of a sudden this R movie goes to an X-rated movie. Because apparently dicks are scary.
Yeah. That's
so
so
super
dumb.
sexual. Fuck.
Like, I mean, you should, especially in like a slasher movie. And I don't want, now it's weird saying teen. Even actors that are 20 that are playing teens is still wrong. I think that's why some of them moved from teen to college. Like Friday 13th, 2009 went to college. But yeah, if you're chasing around a girl and you see some boobie, maybe you should see some cock.
I want more shower kills where I get to see.
Although if I was a male actor, I'd be like, dude, we're outside. The worst case scenario for a woman is her nipples get hard. Worst case for a scenario for a dude, if it's cold out, yeah, there's shrinkage.
See, but here's what I'm gonna say. Because
it
doesn't matter
it
doesn't matter what a woman's boobs look like. Inevitably, I can guarantee you, half of the internet will complain about it. Well, shit.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be naked. Whoopi Goldberg, what movie did she just do? I think it was Till. So the Emmett Till story, I think it's the actual story of his mother, how after Emmett Till was killed, his mother was traveling and talking about racism and how it impacts the justice system and things like that. Anyways, Whoopi Goldberg is in it. And apparently the movie got reviewed and the reviewer was talking about how they got totally distracted by Whoopi Goldberg's fat suit. Whoopi Goldberg literally went, "That's not a fat suit. That's me. I'm fat." And she was going through some health problems at the time that had packed on the weight. Yeah. So she was like, "I don't know if you know what was going on with me at that time, but there was a reason why I weighed that much and why I was that big. And that was not a fat suit." So basically what you're saying is you couldn't pay attention to the movie because you have an obsession with big people. And I was like, oh, damn. She just called out that reviewer. But it doesn't matter. Woman, your boobs are perky. People are going to talk about it. Your boobs are hanging. People are going to talk about it. You got small
That's
nipples.
true.
They're going to talk about it. Big nipples. They're going to talk about it. Different discolored nipples. People are going to talk about it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
'Cause
So
see, you
now
said
I
that,
want
I
equal
remember.
rights.
I remember Kathy Bates went topless in a jacuzzi scene. I can't remember what movie. It wasn't that long ago, really.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember people freaking out because she was like 50 something.
Oh, people
Yeah.
lose their minds all the time about women's bodies. Constantly. And all I'm asking for is the equal opportunity to lose my mind over a
Yeah.
man's body. That's it. If you're going to put my titties out, I want to see some balls. That's it. And that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. We want more dick. We want more dick.
Put that shit on a t-shirt.
Yeah. As scary as I look, I'm pretty sure I would still get fucking flack from that.
No, man. No, they'd love it. Everybody would love it. They'd be like, finally.
That's a pretty direct statement.
Sometimes you just got to be direct in order to get what you want. If you want more dick, you got to ask for it, man.
That's true.
You demand it.
Oh, okay. Where are we? Here?
Anyways.
Got sidetracked. Okay,
We're talking about Kelly Monaco's titties.
Randy and Debbie meet up with Anton. Debbie explains that the hand will drag whoever has it to hell, tries to kill him, realizes that his hand is gone. And now he was saying that the hand is trying to get his girlfriend. Yeah, by now they've just the night before started making out.
Yes.
He has not changed his clothes at all or showered.
No.
And now they're boyfriend and girlfriend because she has already mentioned that her boyfriend isn't at the dance yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this plot gets more paper thin by the minute. Debbie explains that the hand, if that's who the hand's trying to grab, it's going to drag Molly's soul into hell, the netherworld. There's no real reason. There's no real backstory. It's probably good that there isn't. I mean, you wouldn't want this movie to get any stupider.
I really don't want
I mean, it does, but what's that?
I really don't want them to explain why. Because I'm like, for the way the movie's going, like it's going to be something stupid. Like,
yeah, they did the right thing.
Yeah.
Trust us. You just ignore it. Anton crashes the dance and tries to warn everyone about his hand, but is ignored. And that's when you see Offspring in the movie. The hand then scalps the band's lead singer and causes a panic. Molly and her friend Tanya escape through the vents.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they get to the fan, which they have stopped with Tanya's shoe. And she takes the rope and Molly goes down. Tanya wastes time and then gets hung by the rope and then chopped to shit by the fan.
Yeah. R.I.P. Tanya.
Yeah. Molly then runs into the art room, causing her to get knocked out. Anton enters and fights with the hand while it is inside the puppet. But escapes to the auto shop where Molly is strapped to a car in her bra and panties. Actually, no, he actually pulls off her thing.
Correct.
Yeah, revealing her bra and panties.
Mm-hmm.
Very coincidental, I'm sure.
Totally by accident.
The hand is raising her toward the ceiling, which has the symbol of the devil on it. What is that symbol?
It's a pentagram.
The pentagram. Yeah, none of this makes sense.
None of it.
Anton and Mick. Oh, yeah, and then Anton and Mick, who actually were going to save Tanya, see all the pieces of it. They make some jokes. Then they help Anton fight with the hand over the controls to save Molly. Mick finds a mechanic's bong, and he and Nub smoke for strength.
Of course.
Like there's a lot somewhere along the line of the movie, like whoever's writing, they're like, fuck it, and just threw in whatever or got high.
Yeah, I think the writer hit the bong a few times too many
Yeah.
while finishing the script.
And he wrote this like they needed it for strength, and he laughed and he laughed. Then he forgot what he was laughing about. Anton blows some smoke into the hand still inside the hand puppet, and it drops from the controls, and they save Molly. Debbie throws a ritual knife into the hand as it was getting back up or coming at Anton, stopping it, and a puff of smoke and fire, and disappears. She and Randy take off for ritualistic sex. Anton releases Molly from the top of the car. They go under the car and start making out. In the process of lighting the bong for Mick, Nub accidentally hits the controls of the car, and Anton is crushed by the car. In the film's conclusion, Anton is in a body cast in the hospital, having given up heaven to stay with Molly, and Mick and Nub are now his guardian angels. When he is left alone in the room, Anton looks up and sees the message, "I'm under the bed," written on the ceiling. He freaks out, and Mick and Nub are walking away, revealing that they were the ones that actually wrote the message. And that's the movie. So, overall thoughts of why you liked it back then. Like after seeing it now, what was it that you see now that you attribute to liking it back then?
The fact that I was in a room filled with college students or university students who may have been a little bit drunk.
Yeah.
And gorging on pizza, and it was the weekend and we didn't have to go to class the next day. I think that was why I liked it so much back then.
Mine is kind of the same. We rented this, like I said before, this was not the movie we went to get. This was a second or third, maybe even a fourth choice.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember watching it with more than one of my idiot friends. And it's that thing where it's infectious. One person starts laughing, another person starts laughing, and then you get into that mood where it's just,
or someone cracks a joke about the movie, and what's going on, and you're laughing, and you associate that laughter with the movie, not necessarily with the joke someone just made about the movie. I think that happened a lot when I watched it the first time.
Okay, so what are your thoughts now? You don't have to give it a score yet, but what are your thoughts now?
My thoughts now.
Or give it a score and give us your thoughts.
Well, no, because I liked it, right? Like it's a terrible movie.
It's fucking horrible. But
quality-wise,
go ahead.
It's a terrible movie, but it's fun and it's light and I laughed more than I thought I would, and it's not as crass and as crude as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way just filthier, but weirdly enough, it wasn't, and that was actually shocking to me. But it was a fun movie. I laughed out loud a couple times, and a couple times I kind of snickered at like the jokes that were being made. Definitely more of a comedy than a horror movie. But overall, I mean, it was good. I mean,
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as crass as 1999 could have been.
Yes.
It is so definitely a comedy. It's a comedy with a bit of horror into it, because even the horror is silly.
Yes.
Yeah, there were a couple funny parts. I went in to the movie thinking that it was going to be stupid, and it was not going to be a smart horror film or anything like that. So I think that helped, that I enjoyed it a lot more than I would have. Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
No.
It made no sense, and I think it wasn't supposed to. It was a slapstick goofy comedy with they went for the laugh more than the storyline.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they forgot about the storyline about, I don't know, a page into the script. They were just like, and that's a great opening, and then we're just gonna stop here. Just gonna stop here. Just gonna
Could this movie be made or remade and enjoyed today?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I said the same thing. And I think it should be remade, and I would involve the entire cast somehow. Maybe not as the same characters, but I would have them involved somehow. You could probably make it pretty cheaply today.
You could definitely make this cheaply. That would be good. Yeah, no, you could totally remake this today and not even have to change that much about it.
So if you were talking to somebody that remembers liking this movie but hasn't seen it for a long time, like we haven't, what would be your summary for them?
Kind of stupid, not scary, but it's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the same thing. You would want to be in the mood for a comedy, a stupid comedy. Yeah.
Stupid comedy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
And a summary for people haven't seen it. You think they would like it? What would you tell them?
If they haven't seen it,
the younger, the better.
Yeah, honestly, I probably wouldn't let them see it. This is terrible. I feel like don't watch it. Don't, like, it's not, I don't think it should be on anybody's like, yeah, I should. But I mean, if it's on TV, feel free. But I mean, it's more like it's a stupid comedy.
If you're looking for something light.
Yeah, something light, laughs. Something fluffy with a few laughs, some little touches of like horror light. Like, it's not, you will not be scared. You will not be like, there are a couple gross moments.
Yeah.
So if you have like a sensitive stomach, you probably shouldn't. Actually, no, you could probably still totally watch this because it's not like beginning to end grossness. It's literally just like moments of gross. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd recommend this to people.
No, I like a younger generation. I don't know if I would recommend it either, because it could be like where they watch and go, "What the fuck, dude? Oh, this is what you watched."
Like, younger audiences are so much more sophisticated than we were at that time.
Yeah,
because we didn't understand. Now they understand. They understand what quality looks like, because the price of making a quality film has gone down substantially. You can do so much for so little now.
And that's what I mean. Doing a remake or a sequel or something, a legacy sequel, wouldn't be expensive to make.
No, not at all. They could totally do it on the cheap.
And you would really probably get a lot of Gen X, early millennials, late boomers that remember this movie that would watch a sequel to this or a remake.
Oh yeah, they probably would.
So what would you score it?
5.7. It's leaning into the meh, but it's pretty kind of good for what it is.
I give it a 5.5, right in between. Meh was okay and pretty kind of good. It's right in the middle there. I would watch it again. I wouldn't watch it anytime soon, but I could see years from now going, yeah, I remember I said I'd watch this again. I might get mad at myself after or halfway through it.
I wouldn't choose to watch it again, but I would not be opposed to watching it again.
Yeah, it'd have to be one of those things where I see it's either on TV or something like that. But it would have to be years from now.
Oh God, yeah. Like, it wasn't terrible. Okay, let me rephrase. It wasn't a terrible watching experience.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Terrible movie.
Terrible
but it's
movie.
Not a terrible watching experience. Like, it's not one of those where it's painful to watch it. You still have fun. You know, there is almost no real plot. There's no character development.
No, none. Nothing.
Sometimes there's no character establishment.
Nope.
Like, it's just basically people walking around talking and like a hand killing people, and that's about it. And it's a good time.
And I will say this because there were a lot of actors, a lot of faces that people would recognize in this movie.
Yes.
They're good at what they do still, and what they were given, they did a pretty decent job with what they had to work with.
Yeah, no. I mean, with what they had, what they were given, it's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Idle hands. I'll see you in a few years.
If that.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking.